until you're listening. Sorry, you're choking. You all right? Okay. Every person should have gotten their math test back. Now, I'm gonna wait, please, because I have people coming and people talking, and gentlemen, I'd like you to come back to your seat, please. Please.
Can we come back?
We'll finish it later. Okay, we'll have some time at the end of the day to finish putting them in, and then you can also work on it tomorrow. They don't all have to go home today. Okay?
Okay.
Please, and thank you.
So Jordan, please have any idea of what happened?
Remember how you wanted to earn back that green? Being a smart aleck is not the way to do it. Okay, GL, will you shut off the front light, please?
It was a loud job today. I know that. Like I said.
Hey, I'm waiting for eyes to be on me.
What is the question?
What I did was, remember how we talked? Thank you. Remember how we talked about that I was going to teach you guys something in a different way and see if that helped? Well, I started to do this page, which was our sentences and answers with the place value. That was the one I had originally intended for us to do, but so many people did awesome on it, they changed my mind. Because then the other page, remember, was all about answering the story problem questions, and it asked us to do each of these problems. Well, I also realized that these questions were all broken down from the problem. They asked you each of the individual questions, and everyone did a really nice job on this one as well. But when I looked at our test, I noticed that there were a lot of mistakes on the story problems. And they were problems that were very similar to the ones that we had worked on before, but instead of being broken down into step by step, they just gave you one big long sentence and you had to figure out what to do. So, because I thought those were a little more challenging, I picked those ones, and then I also picked some other problems from our assessment that people had trouble with, and I turned them into sentences. So these are something that's called a sentence frame. So it's kind of like if you were to do for our spelling test, you know how we have a sentence and then you fill in the appropriate word in the box or on the line? It's kind of the same thing for math, because sometimes I think that you guys aren't sure of what step comes next, or taking what you already know and applying it to the next thing. So this hopefully is going to help you to do that. So what I'm going to ask is this. I know there are a few people who got a lot of the problems correct, okay? And also there are some people who got more than just the ones that we are going to do wrong. What I am going to ask is that everyone goes through and does these steps with us, and if you got the answer incorrect on your paper, then you may erase whatever answer you put down and put the correct one after we do this.
I don't have any.
Well, you can borrow an eraser from someone, or I can get you one. But do you understand? Time out. Yeah. Time out. The reason I'm asking us to do this, everybody, is because I think that even if we got the correct answer, if we see the different steps to them, that it might be a little easier for us. So I'm going to ask two things right now. First thing, the only paper I want on your desk, or the only things I want on your desk, are your test and a pencil. Do that now. Water bottle can stay on there. And that, I'm going to have you set it in the pop-on chair for right now, but that's going to need to go in your locker. Thank you. Now, right now, handwriting goes away, and you need to get your test and everything else on the floor. Okay. and give verbal warnings to anyone who has not done that. Let's go. Just your test on your paper. Everything else, put them on the floor. You should have a pencil in your test. That's it. My paper passer and helper. Please pass out.
Wait, this?
Yes, that. Paper passer and helper. I'm going to keep this one for myself. Please pass those out to everyone. We will be starting on the side that says number 2. I numbered the kind of problem with the number of the problem from our test. Yes, give one to Jimmy. He'll just get it when he comes back.
The one that said the
Reasonable estimate number 2. Please place your name on your paper and give me a thumbs up after you've done that. Is there anyone that didn't get one? Okay. So, on this paper it says, reasonable estimate number 2. Now, your question says, which is the most reasonable estimate for 707 minus 413? So what I'd like you to do is follow these steps. Oh, that's why I have an extra. Is there somebody else that has only the front or only the back? I think you got my originals, that's why. Okay, it should be double-sided. Two sides? Two sides? Check Jimmy's, since he's right next to you. Here you go, this one's yours. Whoa!
Oh my goodness gracious.
My mom would be crying.
Well, it's okay, I have a little bumper thing on it. It's fine. Okay, so, anyway, on here it says, for number 2, 707, thank you, oops, minus 413. I know. What do you need, Dylan? Just have a seat, please. Okay. Guys. So, the steps to this, this is kind of what I think as I'm doing this problem, okay? So what I think is my first number rounds to, so what would 707 round to? I want you to think, well, right, no, I'm not going to ask the answers out loud yet. I want you to think, what would 707 round to? So, if I were looking at this, I would round to the nearest 100. Put your hands down for right now. We're just going to get all of it finished and then we'll talk about it. So, my first number rounds to, write down what your first number, which would be 707, rounds to. What it rounds to. What does 707 round to? What, if you made an estimate, what would it be? Yeah, estimate. I don't need to hear it all, guys. Well, we do have okay, so if I'm rounding 707, that's my first number. My first number rounds to that number. My second number, which is 413, rounds to so I've rounded the first number and I've rounded the second number. Number 2 from the assessment says, which is the most reasonable estimate for 707 minus 413? In order to answer this problem, I first have to estimate my first number. So what would 707 estimate to, or round to? Yes?
700.
700. Okay? Then, I have to also round my second number, which was 413. That's the next step. So, we're doing the very first problem on the page I gave you today. So we've already written in something, so you may as well follow along with us. So we answered this one. 707 we said would round to 700. What about 413? What would 413 round to? My second number, 413, rounds to 413. Zoe? 400. So when I subtract, because my problem says 707 minus 413, when I subtract these, I get, so what would this first number be? Raise your hand if you can tell me what this first number would be. Zachariah, I would love if you would participate with us, please. Madison? 700. And what would my second number be? Emily? 400. So, when I subtract 700 minus 400, what would my answer come to? 300. So when I go back to my paper, this is what I've done in my head or written on the side of my paper. I said 700 is my first number, 400 is my second. I subtract those and I get 300. So then when I look for the most reasonable estimate for 707 minus 413, I would choose 300 as the closest estimate. Okay, now I'm not sure if some of the reasons some people got this wrong is because they just, this was one that got started and then turned into me, so when someone lost theirs or something. So some people circled B, some people circled D. Not exactly sure where we were getting our numbers from, but I want you to see the steps that your brain needs to take to be able to do that. Now the next question I did was number 9. If you got it correct, I'd still like you to go through the steps with us. If you got other problems correct, you may always be fixing those as well. So number 9 is a table. And the tables are one that have always been messing people up. And when I go to people and they ask for help, I usually say the exact same thing. So I kind of wrote that down for you. The first thing I said was, the numbers coming out of the table are blank than the numbers going in. Are the numbers coming out smaller or are they larger? So look at your table. Are the numbers coming out smaller or larger than the numbers going in? Please raise your hand if you can tell me. Are the numbers coming out smaller or larger than the numbers going in? Sit up. Are your eyes okay, sweetie? Zachariah? The numbers coming out are larger than the numbers going in. So I'm going to write larger. I figured you guys might not know how to spell that, so I wrote it there for you. Just like in social studies, how we write it in parentheses. I'll show you the choices right there. The numbers coming out of the table are larger than the numbers going in. This means that I need to, well, if the number is small and gets bigger, am I adding or subtracting? Zoe?
Add.
Adding. This means I need to add. Okay? So by looking at my table, I was already able to tell that I needed to add. Okay? And I knew that because the numbers going in were smaller than the numbers coming out. The change from my in to my out is Well, if I add 4 to my in, that would give me 8. But I have 10 coming out. Okay, so what would it be? That I'm going to add or subtract? Add 6. Let's check. 4 add 6, is that 10? 7 add 6, is that 13? 2 add 6, is that 8? Okay, so that means the change from my in to my out is 6. This means that my rule is, well, we said we were going to plus how many? 6. I find my missing number by solving that blank. 5, are we plussing or minusing?
Plus.
Plus, so on that little line we put a plus sign. What's the other number? We're adding 6, so what number would I get as a solution? Yes, Matt? 11. So the missing number is 11. Do you see how I did those steps? When I came to that problem, that was an in and out box, okay, the table, I looked at it and said, okay, the numbers coming out of the factory are bigger than the ones going in. That means I'm adding to it. Now, my in and my out are 6 away from each other. So, if I know I have to add, and they're 6 away from each other, that means that the rule for this table is going to be to add 6. Every single problem that goes in, I'm going to add 6 to get it out. So that means that my equation is 5 plus 6 equals 11. Which means that the missing number in the table would be 11. So if I go back to my test, I look at my choices and A is 6. And a lot of people put A, because they were not looking at what number would complete the table, but they were looking at the rule. And the rule was plus 6, so they circled 6. But that's not what the question asked me. So by going through these steps, I was able to find what number would complete the table, and that was 11. So you should have circled 11. If you did not get that correct, please fix it. You just did number 9.
Number 8 is so easy.
Austin, look in your desk again. Yeah, it's a little warm. Okay. Look at the next one. Number 12 is another area that we had a lot of trouble. Well, this person. Okay, my turn. Again, if we're overheating, the less we move, the cooler we get. So, 12 and 13 was another area that we had trouble. It talked about estimates and overestimates and underestimates. So it looked like this. 21 and 32. About half of the people that got it incorrect just added. They didn't read the directions. Estimate each sum. Then tell whether it's an overestimate or an underestimate. So I broke it down for you. Okay, I only did this one time, even though there are 2 problems, because I figured if you did it for 12, you could do it again for 13. So I'm going to do number 12 on here. Okay, so my first number rounds to, well, it's 21. Jordan, since that's your number, what would 21 round to? What's it closest to? 20. So my first number rounds to 20. rounding up or down? Was that rounding up or down, Lindsay?
Yeah.
Rounding down. So that means that this is an underestimate. Okay? Now my second number, I don't have a 32 in this class, so I'm just going to pick 9. What would 32 be closest to? What would that round to? 30. So, rounded to 30. Now, did I round up or down on that one? Alex, did I round up or down to get from 32 to 30? I rounded from 32 to 30. Okay. That's underestimate. Oops, not undo. Under. Okay, my turn. When I add these together, meaning when I add 20 plus 30 together, Presley, what do I get when I add 20 plus 30? 20 plus 40 would be 50. Now, if I have an underestimate here.
30, not 40. You said 40.
No, he said 50. 20 plus 30 is 50.
I thought you said
Oh, I may have misspoke.
Yeah, that's what
20
I said.
plus 30 is 50.
You said 40.
Now, Zach, if I had an underestimate here and an underestimate here, what would my overall estimate be? Over or under?
Oh,
Under. So that means that anytime you round down for one number and round down for another number, remember when we drew the arrows of rounding up or down? That's an underestimate. If you round up, it's an overestimate. What I'm saying is that an underestimate means that the real answer is bigger. An overestimate means that the real answer is smaller. It's the opposite. Okay, it's like saying, okay, Austin, I am going to have you save up to, he's going to save up to eat lunch with me, okay? Now, he's got $32. He has about 30 bucks, but he really has more than 30 bucks. So his estimate of saying he only has 30 is less than what he actually has. But if he were to say he has 28 bucks, that would still be pretty close to 30, and we round to 30, but really he's just shy. So that's an overestimate. It's more than what he actually has. Because would he be able to buy lunch with me if he really only had 28? No. So it would have to be, that's why you want to watch for over and underestimates, because if you overestimate the, or if you underestimate the amount of money that you're going to spend at the store and you only have $20 and you estimated it $20, but it really costs $24, well, then you're not going to be able to buy something. So that's why we do over and underestimate. So we had this answer would be 50 because 20, and a lot of people did this, they wrote it up top, and that is beautiful, that works perfect. So we said overall, this number rounded down, which is an underestimate, this number rounded down, which is an underestimate, and this number would also be an underestimate. So, on number 12, that was the answer I was looking for. You rounded down both times, so it was an underestimate. Dylan, I'm not quite sure why we are having such a hard time getting in our seats, but I don't want you to forget that we are still on yellow, and we have limited time to earn it back. Okay? So, you have so much else. So let's do that here for this one. If you want to erase the numbers on here and use it again, that would be fine. Or we can just ask ourselves the question. 56, we're doing that right now. 56. What would that round to? Austin, since you were wondering, why don't you let us know? What would 56 round to? 60. I'm going to write that above here. If you wanted to put that on your page, that's fine. Alize, 29. What would that round to? To 30. Now, some people got those two steps correct, but then when they added them, they did it incorrect. So, Dylan, what would I get if I added 60 plus 30? 90.
Because 60. Because what I really do in the tens, I add like if that like the 60 and 30. I'd rather
Add it as if it's one.
add the
6 plus 3. Yes.
But
But you make sure that you add the 0 back because it's not adding 1, it's actually adding 10s.
well, you might not want to put the 0 right there because it could shove it into a different number.
Okay, so if I did this question, my first number rounded to 60, and that is, if I went from 56 to 60, what kind of estimate is that? Please show me on your hands. If I went from 56 to 60, is that an overestimate or an underestimate? Over or under? Over or under? 3, 2, 1. Okay, if I round up, that means it's an overestimate. If I round down, it's an underestimate. So, did I round up or down? We're still undecided here. Which number is larger, 54 or 60? Raise your hand if 54 is larger. Raise your hand if 60 is larger. So, if I went from a smaller number to a larger number, which one did I do? Did I round up or down? Up or down? Up or down? 3, 2, 1. Okay, most everybody has their thumb up, which we did round up. Does everyone understand why I'm saying we rounded up? We went from a smaller number to a larger number. So, that would be an overestimate. What about 29 to 30? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Round up or round down?
What?
3, 2, 1.
I don't know.
Yes, we rounded from 29 to 30. You would have, think of it as like an elevator. Okay, which floor would you be on? 56 to 60. You need to go up to around there. If you're going from 60 to 54, then you're going down, but we rounded up. Same with going from the 29th floor to the 30th floor. We rounded up, which would be an overestimate. So when we add those two numbers together, we get 90, and overall, the whole number would be okay, stop and listen.
Okay.
I have quite a few people that are not on the same page as us right now. Guys, I really don't know why you're out of your seats. What do you need?
I was just thinking that we can
Thinking what?
No, I told him to stop like 3 times and just keep doing it. No? With his pencil.
Please, okay, please stop. It's distracting. Okay, Savannah, what did you need? Okay, so, not right now. So, do you see how we were able to do the underestimate here? If I did 60, which was an overestimate, and 30, which is an overestimate, then 90 is what kind of estimate? Is it under or over? Over, under, over, under, over, under. 3, 2, 1. Okay, most people have said that it is an overestimate, which it is. So your answer should have been overestimate. Okay. The next one I had us do was the rounding to the nearest 10. And I think the reason that this got people confused was because they weren't actually locating the tens place value. So the way I broke that down was I said, first number. The number in the tens place is, so look at the first number for number 25. First number, what number is in the tens place? It kind of seems like a trick question. Please put your finger on number 25. Put your finger on number 25. Okay, and Landon, you see number 25? Put your finger on it. What number is in the tens place?
There's no tens place.
There is no tens place. So what number would I say 10th place?
10.
Well, I would say
6.
it's a 0. Now, I look at my 6. What is that going to round to? It will round to 10. Okay, I'm not sure who said 60, but let me show you why. Austin, if this is 0, that means that I'm asking, Dylan, that means that I'm asking, is 6 closer to 0 or to 10? So is 6 closer to 0 or to 10? How far away is 6 from 0? 6. How far away is it from 10?
4. Thank you very much.
So, yes, ma'am.
Usually say,
You know it. Just tell me it. 4. So which one is it